Bhutan City was thrown into a state of panic as Xavier and his Shao clan appeared. As the citizens saw the grim and fierce-looking men and women with swords, spears, and all sorts of other weapons, fear spread throughout the city. The Shao clan? What are they planning to do? A man wondered. Most of the passersby could not make any sense of the situation.
Who is this young man leading them? He looks familiar.
Someone asked.
He does look very young, and that is a weird weapon on his back. That thing must be awfully heavy.
A woman replied. It was an older man who suddenly cried out in shock. That is Xavier! He is the one from the Shao clan who fought against the faction of the Misty Clouds! The other people who overheard this were shocked as well. Many jaws dropped. Some had pitiful looks on their faces. Then that must mean that Fang, Shao, and the other men are going to be in a lot of trouble. Like a flood, the Shao clan passed through the city. Any marketplace that was owned by Fang or Shao was destroyed in the process. The guards who tried to defend the marketplaces were slaughtered. The Shao clan showed no mercy to the people who humiliated and suppressed them. Since the two clans had no leadership anymore, they had no time to form an effective resistance. As two of the elders of the Fang clan saw the angry Shao clan approaching their marketplaces and fighting their guards, they turned pale. Where's our leader? Where's Chief Fang? The other elder ran quickly over the marketplace, searching for any information. Has anyone seen Chief Fang? Most people had no idea and could only helplessly shake their heads. A young woman at a stall who was selling jewelry remembered something.
The last thing I heard was that he went to the Shao clan, said something about discussing business. I don't think he returned yet.
He did not return yet? The elder knew what this meant. He is dead. Hopelessness overcame him. All he could do was watch the onslaught. He and the others who tried to defend themselves were quickly overrun by the Shao clan. Stalls were smashed, fires were set, and countless chairs and tables were thrown around during the fight. Only hours after the Shao clan appeared, the marketplaces were completely destroyed. The two clans who dared to offend the Shao clan were finished. When the sun was about to set, everything was done. The members of the Shao clan, covered by sweat and blood, returned back to their courtyard. The strongest members of the clan laughed and cheered on their way back. Man, that was great. Finally, we could pay those assholes back, laughed a man. Serves them right. Who did they think they are? Sneered another man. True, this was the best day I've ever had in years. I'm glad Xavier came up with this plan. I don't think his father would have approved of that. He lacked the boldness for a plan like this, commented someone else.
Yeah, you were right. The future of the Shao clan sure looks bright as long as we have Xavier with us,
agreed a woman. Meanwhile, Xavier got himself changed into a clean robe. He then walked back to the courtyard, where he was greeted by the loud cheering of his fellow clan members. Chief Xavier, how good to see you! Xavier smiled and let his eyes sweep over the field. He then walked up to the first elder. How is the rest of the plan coming along? The first elder took a bow. It is going well. All of the clan's Q methods and D techniques have been put into storage rings. The premier auction house was generous enough to lend us some. This does help us a lot to travel with so many things. Xavier nodded with satisfaction. He turned back to the warriors who were still celebrating their victory on the field in the courtyard. You all have done well today. Thank you. We really showed them that we will not let anyone bully our Shao clan. Now it's time for you all to disperse and leave Wutan City as well. Remember the plan. Travel to the Desert Steel Mercenary Company and wait for everyone else to arrive. And what about you? The first elder suddenly asked. Following this, everyone else's attention shifted towards Xavier. A malicious grin spread over Xavier's face. Me? I will go and kill that bastard who dared to kidnap my father. Afterwards, I will also go to the Desert Steel Mercenary Company. The first elder could only nod and take a bow in front of Xavier. Very well then. We will be waiting for you at the Desert Steel Mercenary Company. Take care, Xavier. Xavier nodded. Without spending more time amongst the warriors and other clan members, he made his way out of the courtyard. Once he passed the gate, he activated his eagle wings and shot into the sky. There were no clouds visible. Xavier and Queen Medusa were visible as two small black dots in the sky over Wutan City. They could see the mountain range of monsters on the horizon, towering over the city. The mountains appeared very majestic. Xavier paused midair. It feels so odd. I don't know if I'll ever return to this place in the future. I hope it all goes well. Queen Medusa stopped next to Xavier.
Can we head to the ingredient hall back in the other city, before going back to the faction of the Misty Clouds to free your father?
Xavier looked at her with confusion. You can't be serious. Saving my father and killing the First Elder Shen is more important than your pill. And I told you that you will have to follow me. We have an agreement, remember? Queen Medusa rolled her eyes.
All I agreed on is saving you in a life-or-death situation for an entire year. You have already asked for a lot more than that. Remember how you told me to kill all those men at your clan earlier? That was not exactly a life-or-death situation, was it?
Xavier snorted. You said you will only save me in a life-or-death situation. I said you will follow me for an entire year and protect me. If you want the pill, you do what I say. Xavier flapped his wings, continuing his journey. He did not want to waste more time arguing with Queen Medusa. Queen Medusa gritted her teeth.
That bloody...
A rainbow-colored flash appeared in her eyes for a brief moment. Queen Medusa was startled.
You? Why are you trying to defend him? Why are you so concerned about defending one human?
The rainbow-devouring python kept talking with Queen Medusa by telepathy, in a language no human understood. Meanwhile, Queen Medusa tried to catch up with Xavier. After a while, she sighed.
All right. Very well, if you insist. I will make sure he won't die. Now stop trying to gain control over my body. It's really bothering me.
As Queen Medusa caught up with Xavier, she looked at him with a bitter expression.
I will obey you, and I promise to protect you for an entire year as agreed on.
Xavier chuckled. He had a feeling that the rainbow-devouring python had a say in this. Thank you very much. I'm happy to hear that, he replied.
Anyway, there's still something you need to know, Xavier. As long as the former leader of the faction of the Misty Clouds is around, it won't be easy to kill their First Elder Shen,
informed Queen Medusa. Yeah, that might be the case. I'll come up with something. Don't worry. A mischievous smirk was on Xavier's face. He flapped his wings a few more times and shot forwards like a shooting star. Queen Medusa was dumbstruck.
Does he know how dangerous this trip is? Not even I think I could win a fight against the First Elder and their former leader. Their current faction will most likely also be there. There are too many powerful people in the faction. What does he intend to do? What a fool.
Xavier, who was still not in the mood to argue with Queen Medusa, flew as quickly as he could towards the faction of the Misty Clouds. I don't have any time to waste. I need to save my father and kill this bastard Shen. Maybe I will merge the green and white heavenly flames again, he thought. He turned his head and looked one final time at the small Wutan city, which disappeared behind the horizon. Queen Medusa kept following him. This time around, they made no stops. Xavier rushed without eating or drinking. He kept swallowing pills to restore his Q energy, without having to train. Since they did not stop or slow down, they arrived in not even 2 days at the capital. Although he did not stop there, some of the powerful people who knew him could sense his Q energy. Amongst them was also Master Haru. As Xavier flew over the capital, he opened his eyes while sitting in the Imperial Palace at the capital. Is this Xavier's Q energy? How odd. Why did he return? Is he going back to the faction of the Misty Clouds? What is he doing? Meanwhile, in the Premier family's headquarters, the Ice Emperor was half asleep during a boring meeting of the elders. They were debating over the finances of the clan. The Ice Emperor dozed off not even 10 minutes into the meeting. No one had the courage to wake him up. As Xavier flew over the capital, the Ice Emperor was suddenly wide awake. Xavier, why did he return? It feels as if his Q energy is aiming for the faction of the Misty Clouds. Is this idiot trying to get himself killed? Lady Phi, who was nearby, walked towards him and poured him a cup of tea.
Is something wrong?
The Ice Emperor laughed and took a sip of the tea. Phi, you are an elder of the clan now. You should take advantage of the power you have, instead of pouring old men tea.
Don't worry about that. I heard you mention Xavier's name. Is he doing all right?
Phi asked. The Ice Emperor thought for a moment and then smiled. I don't know what he is up to, but I have traveled with him for a while. His powers are truly something else. I'm sure he'll be fine, especially with that
That snake demon following him. The faction of the Misty Clouds won't manage to kill him. He shivered as he remembered Queen Medusa. He did not want to run into her again. Lady Phi looked relieved. She was about to walk away again when the Ice Emperor's face suddenly changed. The old man straightened up and stared at the ceiling. The elders who were in the middle of talking stopped and looked at the Ice Emperor in confusion. "Old High, what is wrong?" The Emperor kept staring at the ceiling. He had a bad feeling in his stomach. "I think something bad is going to happen. I need to take a look. I will go to the faction of the Misty Clouds. Louis, gather the Shadow Guards. I have a feeling something big is going to happen at the faction of the Misty Clouds." Louis was startled. "The Shadow Guards? Is this not a bit much?" The Ice Emperor stood up and got ready to leave. "No, this won't be too much. Remember when I told you all that we need to stay on good terms with Xavier no matter what? In my eyes, Xavier has much more potential than the faction of the Misty Clouds. Helping him will help the Premier family more than you could possibly imagine. I can promise this." Without explaining further, the Ice Emperor walked out of the Premier headquarters. He ignored the gazes of the stunned elders watching him. In the capital, all the powerful people who had met Xavier before could sense how his powerful Q energy appeared. In the Alchemist Society, the Nalan clan, the Premier Auction House, and the Imperial Palace, they got themselves ready to make their way to the faction of the Misty Clouds. "Something big is going to happen. I can tell," an alchemist murmured to someone next to him as he saw Lord Fang walk up and down, talking to a servant. Meanwhile, in the faction of the Misty Clouds, more than 10 people were gathered in the large meeting hall. All of them wore their silver-white robes with badges on their chests. Judging from those badges, they all possessed a high rank within the faction. Amongst them was also the Pill King Lucian. Behind him was his disciple, Yuko. Yuko occasionally glanced towards a beautiful young lady in a silver-white robe across from him. This lady was, of course, Lady Yan. She looked a bit thinner than a few days ago. She also appeared to be lost in thought. Her usually vivid eyes were staring into the far distance. "First Elder Shen, why did you and our former leader, Grandmaster Shan Yun, leave the clan a few days ago?" The clear, cold voice of a woman echoed through the hall. The First Elder tensed up. Fear was in his voice and on his face. "Grandmaster Junie, we only had to leave because of some minor private matters. There is no need to get upset." Grandmaster Junie, who was sitting at the head of the table, looked furious. She glared at the First Elder. Her regal attitude made her appear very intimidating. "The few of you were headed to Wutan City, is that correct?" The First Elder swallowed heavily. He helplessly nodded his head. "Grandmaster Junie, Xavier damaged our reputation very badly. If we would let him go off so easily, others will think we will allow everyone to bully us. Additionally, he murdered Chang Moon. We need to hold him accountable for this. We should track him down and kill him. It is only fair." Grandmaster Junie shook her head. "Our dispute with Xavier has come to an end after the 3-year agreement. If we go after him despite his victory against Lady Yan, people will assume we hold a grudge and try to kill him for no reason. No one would ever trust our faction again, and we would lose a lot more than just some reputation. Besides, Chang Moon was only an external deacon. He has been very supportive, but risking so much to avenge his death is clearly foolish. Moreover, do you think I am not aware that you are only using Chang Moon's death as an excuse to get rid of Xavier? As far as I am concerned, you never even liked Chang Moon. You called him an annoying bootlicker." The First Elder's face turned red. He did not dare to stand up against her on his own. Instead, he turned towards Grandmaster Shan Yun, asking silently for help. Although Grandmaster Shan Yun had his eyes closed, he could sense the First Elder staring at him. "Don't look at me, First Elder Shen. Grandmaster Junie is the leader of the faction. If she says that that is how it is, then that is how it is. I will obey whatever she says. If you don't want to get yourself into more trouble, then I would recommend you do the same." Hearing this, the First Elder remained quiet. After a brief silence, a different elder spoke up. "Grandmaster Junie, the First Elder was only thinking about our reputation. If he had wanted to fight Xavier, he would have done a lot more damage to the Xiao clan. All he did was damage some buildings. Who cares about that? I don't think there is any need to be upset or force him to apologize. If you would apologize to this meaningless clan, we are going to look like a joke to everyone."
Grandmaster Junie let out a cold laugh.
"Have you all already forgotten how powerful Xavier is? He demonstrated his powers only a few days ago. He is no idiot either. I am sure he connected the dots by now. He knows it was our faction who damaged his home. Do you think he will let this slide? He is going to cause a lot more trouble, not to mention Queen Medusa, who keeps following him. The First Elder is an ignorant fool who got us into a whole lot of trouble."
The First Elder sank deeper into his chair.
"What do you plan to do? Don't tell me that you are going to hand me over to Xavier so that he can kill me."
Grandmaster Junie did not reply immediately. She tapped her fingers against her armrest, thinking for a moment.
"No, I suppose I can't do that. Don't get me wrong, I would love to. But knowing him, he would not accept this. He is too proud. Handing you over to him would be too easy. He would not be happy. I will send someone over to the Xiao clan and try to salvage our relationship. I hope he is not reckless enough to try and fight us."
The First Elder Shen relaxed in his chair as he heard this. Although he knew he would still get punished, at least he would not have to worry about getting killed. Grandmaster Junie waved her hand and stood up. Her expression was stern as she looked over the hall.
"As I told the First Elder already, the 3-year arrangement has come to an end. I do not want anyone to offend Xavier to avenge Chang Moon. It is bad enough as it is. We don't need to make this worse. Understood?" "Yes, Grandmaster Junie."
All the elders replied in unison. Grandmaster Junie sighed. She was about to dismiss everyone when she suddenly saw that Grandmaster Shan Yun's eyes jumped open. His pupils dilated. Not even a second later, a terrifying Q energy shocked everyone in the hall. Lady Yan looked around. Panic rose in her heart.
"Master, what is happening?"
Grandmaster Shan Yun stood up. "We just wanted to end this matter, and now he shows up. How unfortunate." Xavier descended from the sky above the mountain. His voice echoed throughout the entire faction like thunder. "You fucking old dog Shen! Come out here so I can kill you!" All the disciples who heard Xavier yelling went out to see what was going on. As they saw Xavier, they turned pale.
"Xavier? Why did he come back?"
Xavier looked over at the faction. As he saw the large hall, his eyes stopped. The First Elder Shen came flying out through a large window. His face was furious.
"Xavier, you annoying brat! Do you show up because you have a death wish? Have you not humiliated us enough?"
Xavier looked at the First Elder Shen. "You old bastard! Even if your leader decides to protect you, I will kill you. I swear I will kill you." The First Elder forced a laugh.
"Wow, you really have some nerves to talk with me in such an arrogant tone. But you're in luck. I was also looking for you. Why don't you stay at the faction of the Misty Clouds, so we can have a chat?"
Before Xavier could reply, Grandmaster Junie's voice echoed through the air.
"Elder Shen, shut up already. Did you not cause me enough problems this week?"
The disciples on the field took a few steps backwards. The First Elder also backed off mid-air. Suddenly, some white lights flashed through the sky. A few people appeared in the air. In the middle was Grandmaster Junie. Her robe was fluttering gently in the wind. Surrounding her was an aura of elegance and grace. Xavier looked at the people who appeared in the air. His eyes stopped at Grandmaster Junie. He had seen her noble face before. He did not immediately remember where. It took him a moment to realize why she looked so familiar. Luna? High above the faction of the Misty Clouds, Xavier and Grandmaster Junie stared at each other in shock. "Luna? Is it really you? I can't believe this." Xavier was shocked. Grandmaster Junie, or Luna, turned pale. For a moment, she was worried that she might pass out.
"Xavier, of course. How did I not connect these dots? Back at the mountain range of monsters, I thought I had heard the name Xavier before, but I did not think it was you."
Silently, she cursed herself for not realizing where she had heard the name Xavier before. She met so many people in her life, it was hard to remember where she had heard every name. Only now did she remember. Lady Yan had told her about Xavier. Lady Yan mentioned that he was her betrothed. Grandmaster Junie felt like an idiot for forgetting about this. The people staring at them began to whisper. They could sense something must have been going on. As Xavier noticed, he cleared his throat and said, "I apologize. I suppose it would be more appropriate to address you as Grandmaster Junie, right?" Grandmaster Junie was flustered and unsure. A bitter laugh escaped her red lips. "I did not realize that you were Lady Yon's betrothed. I feel like such a fool." The first elder was as surprised as everyone else nearby. "Grandmaster Junie, are you acquainted with Xavier?" Grandmaster Junie was startled. We have met a few times." She sounded a bit evasive as she replied. Xavier huffed and shook his head. With a smile, he said, "Grandmaster Junie is the leader of the faction of the Misty Clouds. I am a random nobody. How could we be acquainted? I think I just got her mixed up with someone. The person I remember was called Luna, not Junie." Grandmaster Junie bit her red lips as she looked at Xavier's knowing eyes. Deep in her heart, she felt a sting at his words. She clenched her hands into fists. The knuckles of her fingers turned white. The first elder frowned as he saw this. Something definitely happened between them, he thought silently to himself. Grandmaster Shan Yun's eyes were darting between Xavier and Grandmaster Junie. "Xavier, we let you go the last time, and I remember telling you to never come back, didn't I? Despite this, you've decided to come back and ridicule our first elder. Do you think you are in a position to fight us? Even with Queen Medusa on your side, it would cost you your life. You can't fight all of us." Xavier narrowed his eyes and glared at Grandmaster Shan Yun. "I did not come back to fight you. Maybe you should ask your first elder why I decided to come back." Grandmaster Shan Yun furrowed his brows. "We know that our first elder Shen has acted a bit impulsive, but that is no reason to cause such a scene. All he did was destroy some buildings. We will send someone over to repair the damage and compensate for it. Now, if that is all, you can leave." Xavier was startled. Suddenly, he burst into cold, insane laughter. Those who heard it felt their skin crawl. The laughter got louder and louder. "Grandmaster Shan Yun, I will try to stay respectful. You're a warlord after all, but this is too funny. Are you really that dumb, or do you just pretend to be that dumb? You can't be dumb enough to think that this is all that happened. Do you think that bastard Shen only came to my home to destroy some buildings? That is not what happened." Grandmaster Shan Yun looked at his first elder with a mix of confusion and anger. Grandmaster Junie and some of the other elders did as well. At this moment, all the first elder wanted to do was crawl into a hole and hide for the rest of his life. Silently, he tried to come up with a plan to escape this situation. Grandmaster Shan Yun sighed and turned back to Xavier. "Very well. I'm not sure what happened, but I will try to compensate for whatever it was. Please let me know what you want." "Compensation? You keep talking about compensation. What a load of nonsense. I was not asking for compensation, was I, you old idiot?" Xavier let his voice echo through the sky like thunder. The disciples and elders gasped. No one had talked with Grandmaster Shan Yun like this before. Even Grandmaster Shan Yun himself felt a bit dizzy. Anger spread through his heart. "Who do you think you are?" he yelled. Xavier laughed again. "I should be the one asking this. That first elder of your faction chased my father from my clan, wanting to kill him. No one has seen him since. We don't know where he is, but I think your first elder can answer this. If you don't release my father, I will destroy the faction of the Misty Clouds, even if it gets me killed." Grandmaster Junie's eyes widened in shock. "Your father? Shen never said anything about your father. What are you talking about?" "Why don't you ask him, or my clan? Everyone in my clan has seen it. 3 people descended from the sky, attacking the Xiao clan. In order to divert that old bastard, my father fled from Wutan City. They chased after him. My father never returned. I will not leave this faction full of assholes until you release my father," he explained angrily. If anyone else had yelled insults at Grandmaster Junie like this, she would have been furious. Right now, however, she only felt bad. She could not bring herself to be angry at Xavier. "I am sorry. I had no idea." Immediately, she turned to the first elder. "Shen, you better explain what happened. What really happened, I mean. Otherwise, you won't be the first elder of our faction for much longer." Droplets of cold sweat formed on the first elder's forehead. He raised his hand in an apologetic manner and backed a few steps off.
Grandmaster Junie, I did not harm his father, I swear. Back at the Xiao clan, we did chase after him. That is true. But when we were about to capture him in a dense forest, he disappeared. He just vanished without a trace. We searched through the entire region, but could not find him. Really, I swear.
Grandmaster Junie tilted her head and gritted her teeth.
He disappeared? Do you think I'm an idiot? He was not even a Q master, was he? How could he just disappear? If you have enough nerves to lie to my face, at least come up with something believable. No, please, I swear. He disappeared. If you do not believe me, then ask the second and third elder. They also saw what happened that night. I swear I would not lie about this.
The first elder was as pale as a dead body as he tried to defend himself. Grandmaster Junie and Shan Yun exchanged questioning looks. Even if they would believe the first elder, they knew that Xavier would not let this go. Grandmaster Junie slowly turned her head towards Xavier and took a sharp breath. Xavier's expression was dark and solemn. He raised both his hands, his open palm faced upwards. Within a split second, the green heavenly flame appeared in his right hand. The green light reflected in his pupils. If you don't hand me over my father, I will turn this place and all the people in it into ash, he warned. Grandmaster Junie flew a bit closer toward Xavier.
Xavier, give me a few days. Please, I will send people to help you search for your father. If our first elder is honest, your father must be safe.
And why should your first elder be honest? No one from your faction appears to be honest. Neither Lady Yan, nor you, nor anyone else I've met here was honest to me. I don't trust any of you. Why would I accept your help? All you will do is lure me away and kill me or hold me hostage, like you did with my father. The only thing I want is my father and that bastard Shen's life. If you give me those two things, then I won't destroy this cheap faction of yours. Xavier raised his right hand a bit. The green heavenly flame flickered dangerously. Grandmaster Shan Yun tried to intervene. Xavier, I understand why you're upset. Our first elder has clearly gone overboard. He had no right to do so, and we will punish him. But killing him seems to be a bit harsh, don't you think? I also don't think it would be possible for you to kill him. I don't want to drag this on today. It would be best if you would leave. Xavier stared at Grandmaster Shan Yun in disbelief. His mouth twitched. Leave? You don't think you are in any position to tell me to leave anymore, are you? Xavier waved his left hand, and the white heavenly flame appeared on its open palm. Grandmaster Shan Yun, you leave me no choice. I gave your faction every chance I could, but my patience is at an end, he hissed. Xavier looked at the green and the white heavenly flames. If I merge them, the explosion might kill me, but I don't care. As long as I can burn this faction to the ground and avenge my father, it'll be worth it. Xavier thought to himself. Slowly, he moved his hands toward each other. Near the faction of the misty clouds, a few people rushed closer. As they reached the faction, they landed on a huge tree. As they saw Xavier in the air, their jaws dropped. Amongst them was also the Ice Emperor. As he saw what Xavier was about to do, he had a sudden flashback. He wanted to flee, but the fear caused him to freeze. Never before has he been so scared of someone. Next to the Ice Emperor was Lord Fang. Lord Fang, who was an alchemist, also quickly figured out what Xavier planned to do. He shook his head. Don't tell me that he is trying to merge two heavenly flames. Their energies are not compatible. If they would come into contact, then I don't even want to think about it. This will kill everyone. He will kill himself as well. What did the faction of the Misty Clouds do to upset him this much? My goodness, this is completely insane. Xavier moved his hands closer to each other. On one palm was the green heavenly flame. On the other palm was the white heavenly flame. Shock spread through everyone who saw it. Grandmaster Shan Yun was amongst the first people who understood what Xavier planned to do. Uneasiness overcame him. Xavier ignored the tense atmosphere around him. He kept his eyes fixated on the two heavenly flames. As the two heavenly flames came closer to each other, the heat in the air rose. Thunder-like explosions were caused whenever the sparks of the different flames hit each other. The electricity in the air made everyone's skin crawl. Queen Medusa was no exception to this. Back as I used the heavenly flame to undergo my transformation, it was more painful than anything I could have ever imagined. I still remember the energy. I thought it would kill me.
This white heavenly flame seems to be a lot more powerful than the green one. If they would be combined, then I don't even want to think about it."
Queen Medusa shivered at the thought. Grandmaster Shan Yun looked serious. He had a rough idea of what this would cause, even though he had never seen something like this before. "We need to stop Xavier. This could kill us all." He waved his hand. The First Elder Shen and some others were only waiting for this signal. They flapped their Q-energy wings and shot toward Xavier to stop him. Xavier watched them with cold eyes. His expression did not change. He flapped his eagle wings and flew backward. As he did so, the green and white heavenly flames already began to twirl around each other. Q-energy waves came from them, echoing through the air. One of those Q-energy waves hit a giant tree. Not even a second later, the giant tree fell apart into a pile of ash. The elders tried to chase after Xavier. Since they were so scared of the heavenly flames, they struggled to get close to him. Xavier dodged every attack they aimed at him. The two heavenly flames were halfway on the way to merging into one. Surrounding them was an electric current. The First Elder Shen rushed forwards. He appeared in front of Xavier like a ghost. Xavier pulled back. He stretched his right hand forth. Just as the First Elder wanted to capture Xavier, Queen Medusa blocked him. She stood between Xavier and the First Elder. A look of disdain was on her face as she looked at Shen. "How ridiculous! Isn't the faction of the Misty Clouds one of the most powerful factions in the entire Empire of the Heavens? You really have all this power, and only use it to pick a fight with a teenager. Aren't you embarrassed?" The First Elder gritted his teeth. "Queen Medusa, don't think you can try to intimidate me. I'm not scared of you, but I respect you and don't want to offend you. This matter is between the faction of the Misty Clouds and Xavier. You should not get involved in this. Not even you would be reckless enough to offend our faction." Queen Medusa smiled. A dangerous spark lit up in her eyes. "You think I care about your pathetic human faction? I don't. But if you would like, I would love to show you some of the new attacks I have learned. I have not yet used my full power in this body, and I would love to test my full strength." Shen's face twitched. He turned to Grandmaster Junie. "Please stop Xavier. I will hold Queen Medusa off." Grandmaster Junie heard the First Elder, but she did not move. She seemed to hesitate for a while. Grandmaster Shan Yun looked at her with disbelief. A moment later, he screamed at her. "Junie, what are you waiting for? We need to do something. These two heavenly flames are far too dangerous. If Xavier merged them completely and threw them at the mountain peak, our faction would be destroyed and buried by the mountain. It would kill us all. Do you want to be responsible for the destruction of our faction?" Hearing Grandmaster Shan Yun scream startled Grandmaster Junie. "Of course. I'm sorry, Master." She flapped her Q-energy wings and rushed towards Xavier. Grandmaster Shan Yun relaxed a bit. He turned his head towards Queen Medusa. "Xavier is not dumb enough to actually merge the heavenly flames, is he? I have never seen someone do something like this, but the chance of this working is close to 0%. Queen Medusa shrugged. "I am only acting upon my arrangement with Xavier. All I have to do is protect his life. It's none of my concern if he will succeed with merging the heavenly flames or not." She glanced at Xavier, who was trying to escape the people chasing him. The two heavenly flames were still merging between his hands. As Grandmaster Shan Yun saw this, he stopped talking with Queen Medusa and rushed towards Xavier. "I need to take this seriously. If he would succeed in merging the heavenly flames, we would be doomed." Meanwhile, Xavier flapped his wings, dodging the First Elder's half-hearted attacks. The First Elder was so scared of getting close to the heavenly flames, he always backed off when he was about to reach Xavier. Xavier laughed. As he turned around, his laughter stopped. In front of him was Grandmaster Junie. A bright white glow was around her hands. It grew stronger and stronger. She aimed her fists at the merging heavenly flames. Xavier wasted no time. He raised his hands high into the air. Her fists crashed into his chest instead of the heavenly flames. Grandmaster Junie gasped with shock. "He is really risking his life to merge these heavenly flames. How reckless!" She raised her head, and her eyes locked with Xavier's. Her fists were unclenched, and she brushed Xavier's chest. As she noticed this, her face flushed red. After taking a deep breath, she backed off. "Xavier, we could sit down and have a chat. I really want to talk with you again.
So much has happened since our meeting in the mountain range of monsters. Don't you want to hear about everything that has happened? I'm sure a lot has happened to you as well.
Xavier did not have to think twice before replying. Not really, thanks. I'm done talking, and there's nothing left to discuss either. This cult you're leading has gone too far. I told you that I would kill Shen for kidnapping my father. Grandmaster Junie frowned.
But what about the disciples? With such a powerful attack, they would die too. They don't deserve to die, do they? They have done nothing to offend you.
Xavier paused. His body was trembling with anger as he backed off from Grandmaster Junie. No, they did not. But you know who else did nothing wrong? My father and my family members. Did the First Elder care about this? No. Why should I care about his family when he tried to kill mine? Grandmaster Junie swallowed down the knot in her throat. A bitter taste was in her mouth.
You are clearly unreasonable right now. Once you've calmed down, I will ask you again. However, the merging of the heavenly flames is far too dangerous. I need to stop this. I am sorry.
Without waiting for Xavier's reply, she flapped her wings. Her speed increased. Instantly, she appeared in front of Xavier. A sweet scent hit his nose. Xavier's eyes widened. You still use the same perfume you used back then, back in the mountain range of monsters. Grandmaster Junie, who wanted to go for another attack, abruptly stopped. A flush of red surfaced on her cheeks. As Xavier saw this, he laughed. You were really easy to distract. He flapped his wings and backed off. Grandmaster Junie's face turned even redder. Sly bastard. She was about to chase after him when she saw that the two heavenly flames between his hands were almost fully merged. Powerful Q-energy blasts came from the flames. The sparks coming from the heavenly flames also grew stronger. They wriggled around like snakes.
He really did it. He really merged the heavenly flames. What is he going to do now?
Junie wondered. From a distance, the Ice Emperor glanced at the familiar white and green fireball. He swallowed heavily. He merged the heavenly flames. This is bad news. We need to retreat. The fireball between Xavier's hands transformed. It looked like an egg that was about to break open. As the fireball suddenly broke apart, a green-white flame emerged from it. Xavier watched it with satisfaction. Now I can kill this bastard Shen for kidnapping my father and messing with my family. Grandmaster Shan Yun could not tear his eyes away from the green-white flame. Sheer terror was on his pale face. I have never seen an object or a flame with such an overwhelming amount of Q-energy before. This is terrifying. That dumb First Elder really blew it this time. His foolishness will get our whole faction destroyed. Did he have nothing better to do than pick fights? Damn this old fool. If Xavier doesn't kill the First Elder, I will. Queen Medusa was also shocked to see the green-white heavenly flame.
Xavier is full of surprises. Astonishing. In my long life, I've never seen someone merging heavenly flames. I did not even think this was possible until today.
The person that was the most terrified was the First Elder Shen. His heart skipped several beats, and his mind felt dizzy. Despite this, he gritted his teeth and faced Xavier, who was flying slightly above him. He knew this would be the end, but he still tried to bargain for his life. Xavier, I did not hurt your father, I swear. He disappeared before we had the chance to do anything. We did not even talk with him. I am sure he is fine. Please.
Xavier, no!
Grandmaster Junie screamed out for him, but it was too late. Xavier lifted his hand. The green-white heavenly flame rose into the air. Xavier waved his hand. Instantly, the heavenly flame turned into a ray of green-white fiery light, shooting towards the First Elder Shen. The explosion that Xavier caused above the faction of the Misty Clouds could be heard like thunder within a radius of 100 miles. The green-white light made the mountain of the Misty Clouds look like an erupting volcano. Numerous crater-like cracks appeared in the walls of the mountain. The entire mountain trembled as if an earthquake happened. Boulders and trees came rolling down. Some smaller trees were incinerated into clouds of ash. Even people 20 miles away could see the wave of fire above the mountain. Countless people raised their heads to figure out what was going on. The intense heat of the explosion could be felt throughout the entire capital. In the sky, a few hundred feet away from the explosion, the Ice Emperor, Master Haru, and Lord Fang were dumbstruck. Despite the intense heat, they shivered.
especially the Ice Emperor. He really mastered the Heavenly Flame. The last time he tried this attack, the merged Heavenly Flame seemed to act a lot more unpredictable. Lord Fang raised his eyebrows. Wait, the last time he tried that? What are you talking about? Every time I meet this young man, he shocks me again and again. He smiled bitterly. I should not have hesitated to help him against the faction of the Misty Clouds. I had no idea he was so powerful. He is only a she-master. The old snowman was right. Xavier is really a force to be reckoned with. I should not have doubted him. The Ice Emperor kept watching the wave of flames above the mountain. I wonder what the faction of the Misty Clouds did to offend Xavier so much. It could not be because of the 3-year agreement with Lady Yan, right? All I heard was that there was some fight with the First Elder, and something about the Xiao clan. Xavier must have been very desperate to merge the Heavenly Flames again. The power of this attack is beyond anything I've ever seen. Where is Xavier anyway? Did he pass out from the attack again? He looked around. The wave of flames slowly disappeared with the wind. It was then that everyone looked around at the mess that had been caused. Most of the large hall had collapsed. Several other buildings were destroyed as well. Debris and ash covered the training field. The stone monument that stood in the middle of it was broken into countless small pieces. Groaning was heard. The disciples got badly injured by all the Q-energy blasts. Although most of them put their shields up, they hardly provided any protection against the immense power of the Heavenly Flames. Yet for some reason, the merged Heavenly Flames did not create as much damage as Xavier had hoped. He flapped his eagle wings a few times, flying over the demolished field. He looked almost disappointed as he saw the damage. This mountain should have broken apart. Why did only a few buildings and trees turn to ash and not more? It did not take him long to figure out what was going on. He looked high into the air and saw an enormous Q-energy barrier surrounding the mountain. Xavier frowned. This is a very strong barrier. Even a Q-master would struggle to break it. Xavier was so disappointed, he did not even notice how injured he was. Xavier's skin was charred from the ash. Burns and bruises covered his arms. His face was pale and exhausted. He looked around, and his eyes stopped at Grandmaster Shan Yun. Xavier got furious. It had to be him. No one else here would be powerful enough to create such a strong Q-energy barrier. Xavier was right. Grandmaster Shan Yun breathed heavily. He spent a large amount of Q-energy to create this barrier. It exhausted him. His expression turned dark. In his arms was the First Elder Shen. The First Elder was the one who was hit by the direct attack of the merged Heavenly Flames. Fresh blood covered his body. Xavier could not see from a distance if the First Elder was still breathing or not. Seeing the amount of blood, the First Elder must have been close to death, if he was not dead already. Xavier brushed over his storage ring, and a Q-energy recovery pill appeared. He swallowed it and flapped his wings to retreat. The First Elder is as good as dead. There isn't anything else I can do. Hopefully they can't save him anymore. I wish I would have had enough time to double-check, but I need to escape. Grandmaster Shan Yun's face twitched. Xavier, you are the first person to dare to attack my faction so shamelessly in decades. I have really underestimated your recklessness and arrogance, but this was not the last of it. He turned towards 2 elders who stood on the open ground. Go and tell Lucian to save our First Elder. I hope it is not too late. The 2 elders immediately reacted. They took the First Elder and hurriedly flew inside, what was left of the large hall. Grandmaster Shan Yun waved his hand. The Q-energy barrier surrounding the mountain disappeared. This shameless bastard has destroyed our home, insulted us, and killed our First Elder. I, the 8th leader of the faction of the Misty Clouds, announce that Xavier of the Xiao clan is on our wanted list. We will hunt him down and kill him. We need to wash away this humiliation with his blood. Although he spoke at a normal volume, his voice could be heard in the entire faction. The atmosphere grew tense. This situation had really escalated. Grandmaster Junie did not move as she heard these orders. Sadness crept into her heart. Xavier stopped to turn around for a brief moment. His wings kept flapping. Grandmaster Shan Yun's face was red. His blood was boiling with anger. Since you dared to attack us head-on,
Shouldn't you be brave enough to face the consequences? I will make sure you will stay here and get punished, even with Queen Medusa protecting you." Without any sign of warning, Grandmaster Shan Yun vanished. Xavier's pupils dilated. He hurriedly looked around. Just as Xavier turned, a hand appeared out of nowhere, smashing an attack against him. Xavier dodged it, but he could feel a wave of Q energy hitting him enough to leave a bruise. He coughed up some blood. Behind him, he could hear Grandmaster Shan Yun chuckle. "Your senses are not too shabby, but not good enough to fight me." Another attack hit Xavier. This time, he could not dodge it. Some of his ribs broke under the sheer pressure. "Stop trying to escape, you coward." Suddenly, a shadow flashed past Grandmaster Shan Yun. Queen Medusa's hand reached for him like a claw. As the two came into contact, a ferocious Q energy blast erupted. Xavier was sent flying backward by this Q energy, like a leaf in a hurricane. Grandmaster Shan Yun flexed his teeth. "I told you that not even Queen Medusa will save you this time." He glared at her and waved his hand. His body began to tremble violently. Moments later, some sort of Q energy clone of Grandmaster Shan Yun appeared next to him. Another one appeared on the other side next to him. "Clones that possess your true strength. Impressive." Queen Medusa looked at Grandmaster Shan Yun and his clones with curiosity and respect. She turned around. Before she could attack Grandmaster Shan Yun's clones, the real Grandmaster Shan Yun blocked her off. While the real Grandmaster was fighting Queen Medusa, his clones appeared in front of Xavier. The clones clenched their hands into fists and aimed a violent attack at Xavier. A blast of Q energy approached Xavier. "Ice Mirror!" A cry suddenly rang out, and a thick layer of ice appeared in front of Xavier. The Q energy blast hit the ice. It burst into a cloud of snow. "Xavier, you need to leave!" The Ice Emperor pushed Xavier away from the clones. "Hi, if you want to get involved, so be it. I hope you understand that I won't hold back, despite our old friendship." The clones of Grandmaster Shan Yun apparently possessed not only his true strength, but also his intellect and memories. The Ice Emperor did not reply. Cold Q energy formed around his hands. 2 icicles formed from this Q energy. He flapped his icy Q energy wings and rushed towards the clones of Grandmaster Shan Yun. "Get lost, you old fool!" One of the clones cried out and shot an attack at the Ice Emperor. The Q energy transformed itself into a giant hand. It smashed down onto the Ice Emperor. The Ice Emperor formed a few layers above himself. Unfortunately, the force of the giant hand was too powerful. The giant Q energy hand broke the layers of ice without any effort. The Ice Emperor turned pale as the giant hand smashed down at him. He did not expect that Grandmaster Shan Yun's clone would be so strong. His body fell down like a stone. "I'm sorry, Xavier. I really tried my best. You have to rely on yourself," voiced the Ice Emperor. Both versions of Grandmaster Shan Yun rushed to Xavier. One appeared in front of him, and the other behind him. The one in front of him aimed his fist at Xavier's face. Xavier felt as if he was trapped in a cage of pressure. He had no means to escape left. "I'm still exhausted from merging the heavenly flames. Even if I would attack, I would not have enough Q energy to leave a scratch. Blocking off this attack won't work either." Xavier closed his eyes as the fist was about to reach his face. "It looks like I have to face whatever they are going to do to me. Master Lao, I'm really sorry. I was not strong enough to be on my own." Suddenly, Xavier could hear an old man laughing in his mind. "Don't be so harsh on yourself. You've done excellently so far. Let me take over from now on." The hopelessness in Xavier's heart left him instantly. A powerful Q energy surged from him. It was so powerful, it felt as if it was never ending. Xavier's eyelids twitched. As they sprang open, Xavier's eyes glowed brightly, one in green, the other in white. In the sky, Grandmaster Shan Yun and his Q energy clone aimed their fists at Xavier, one at his back, the other at his face. The Q energy that was wrapped around their fists emitted powerful blasts. Just as everyone thought that this would be the end of Xavier, a different Q energy appeared.
It seemingly came from Xavier. Suddenly, Grandmaster Shan Yun and his clone froze. Under countless terrified looks, the clones exploded into nothingness. No one could believe what they just saw. Even Master Haru and Lord Fang thought they were imagining things. What happened? These clones must have had Grandmaster Shan Yun's strength. There is no way a She-Master like Xavier could destroy them so easily. This Q energy that suddenly appeared is even stronger than my own. Meanwhile, on the top of some ruins, Grandmaster Junie's big eyes stared at Xavier. She could not help but tremble with fear and shock. On the open field of the faction, the disciples who were not wounded or passed out stared at Xavier as well. They were standing there, surrounded by ruins and debris. Their white and silver robes were gray and black with ash and dirt. Although they had no idea how strong these clones of Grandmaster Shan Yun were. In their eyes, he was a god, so these clones had to be equally powerful. However, Xavier destroyed these clones without any effort. Of course, the disciples did not know of Lao. All they saw was a powerful Q energy that seemingly came from Xavier and destroyed the clones. The real Grandmaster Shan Yun turned around to see what was going on. He could sense that his clones disappeared, and that some new Q energy appeared. He swiftly shook off Queen Medusa and looked over the field. As he saw Xavier flying above, not too far away, Grandmaster Shan Yun turned gloomy. Queen Medusa chuckled. Xavier, we should talk more often. I did not know that you were hiding another trump card from me. What did you need my protection for? You look like you can take care of yourself just fine. Anyway, since you have destroyed those Q energy clones, I imagine you can deal with the real Shan Yun as well. I'm getting bored of fighting for you. Besides, my spiritual strength does not last forever, and I'm getting exhausted. The mysterious Q energy gradually withdrew where it came from. As it was gone, Xavier lowered his head and looked at Grandmaster Shan Yun. His voice sounded like a stifled thunder. You are no match for me, Shan Yun. No matter what secret powers your faction has, there's no way of stopping me. I will not leave this faction today. Grandmaster Shan Yun flew towards Xavier. As he was only a few inches away from Xavier, he stopped. I hate to admit this, but I have really underestimated you. I had no idea you hid this sort of power, or how you gained it, but never before have I seen something like this. However, there is one thing I can tell. This terrifying power does not belong to you, does it? I have a lot of experience. I have traveled the continent of the heavens for more than 100 years. I have seen things that you could not even dream of. I have met thousands of soldiers and alchemists. I know a thing or two about alchemy and Q energy. There is no pill that you could swallow that would grant you so much power. Whose Q energy is it? It doesn't matter whose Q energy this is. All that matters is that it obeys me. Shouldn't that be all you need to know? Xavier raised an eyebrow. Grandmaster Shan Yun huffed. He was clearly annoyed. Your arrogance will be your downfall. Regardless of where you get this power from, it won't last forever. Sooner or later, this strength will leave you, and until then, I will fight you. After all, I cannot allow you to leave after you have murdered my first elder and demolished my faction. Sure, you can try to fight me, Xavier laughed. But you do know that this was all your own fault. If that idiot first elder would not have hurt my family and kidnapped my father, none of this would have been necessary. Enough of this already. Grandmaster Shan Yun gestured with his hands. They formed some sort of seal. Following this, a wild, green-colored wind appeared around him. Suddenly, a strange green glow formed around the tip of his finger. A warm feeling overcame Xavier as he heard Lao's familiar voice in his head again. Ha! I will make them pay for bullying my disciple. They won't know what hit them. I only have about 20% of my full power, but this will be more than enough. Xavier smiled as he heard this. The disciples on the ground below hurriedly fled behind some of the ruins and rocks that were lying around. Even the Ice Emperor, Lord Fang, and Master Haru retreated into the distance. None of them wanted to be near the center of the battle. Grandmaster Junie did not bother to hide her anxiety anymore. The heaviness was in her heart. As she heard a soft voice, she was startled. Master, have you met Xavier before? Grandmaster Junie twirled around and saw Lady Yan. Grandmaster Junie suppressed all of her emotions as well as she could. Despite everything, She was still the leader of the faction of the Misty Clouds. She could not let her emotions get the better of her. With a sad smile, she brushed over Lady Yan's hair.
I have met him a couple of times. I did not remember why his name sounded so familiar, and since I have never met your former betrothed, I did not recognize that it was him. This is also why I was so shocked earlier.
Lady Yan looked sour.
Yes, there was a point where I did not recognize him either. He does like to be secretive for no reason. I can't believe that I actually liked him while I did not know it was him.
Grandmaster Junie nodded. In her heart, she felt the same. She sighed. Suddenly, she seemed to have sensed something. Quickly, she turned back to Lady Yan.
Yan, don't tell me you have romantic feelings for him.
Lady Yan's eyes widened. She looked around as if she was searching for an exit.
Me? What? No. I hate him. I used to like him back when he disguised himself as Ying. Back when I did not know it was him. I don't really like him. Why would I? He is the reason all of this happened. He is the one destroying the faction. He killed our first elder. I hate him. More than anything.
Lady Yan forced a laugh. Grandmaster Junie stared at her with a blank face. After a while, tears formed in Lady Yan's eyes. As they rolled down her cheeks, she threw her arms around Grandmaster Junie and sobbed uncontrollably.
Master, who am I kidding? This is all my fault, is it not? I should have never tried to break off our engagement. I am so sorry.
Grandmaster Junie pulled Lady Yan into a tight hug. Lady Yan could not see it, but in her master's eyes were also tears.
It is all right. Don't be so harsh on yourself. I messed up as well. I should have told you that you were not allowed to break off the engagement. If I had forbidden it, none of this would have happened.
Lady Yan let go of Grandmaster Junie. Her eyes were red.
Master, what should I do now? Is there anything I could do at all?
Grandmaster Junie was quiet. She thought about the time she had spent with Xavier in the mountain range. Back then, she learned a lot about Xavier and what sort of person he was. She also knew that the only thing Xavier felt for Lady Yan was hate and perhaps disgust. The cancellation of the engagement was the last straw that caused everything to break. There was nothing anyone could do. The faction of the Misty Clouds and Xavier would stay enemies until one of them would defeat the other. There was no way around this. Grandmaster Junie did not want to say any of this, and silently shook her head. Lady Yan understood immediately.
I understand. There's nothing I can do. Master, once all of this is over, please allow me to pass the gate of life and death. Pass the gate of life and death? Are you joking?
Grandmaster Junie could not believe what she had just heard.
You would need to be on the level of a battle spirit to pass this gate. It is far too dangerous for you to pass it, especially right now.
Lady Yan looked at her master with desperate eyes.
I know this, but in my current condition, I can't keep training quietly. The gate of life and death is where all the leaders of the faction of the Misty Clouds rest. I believe they will protect me when I pass.
After a long silence, Grandmaster Junie sighed and nodded.
I understand why you would want that. There would be a lot of benefits you would receive from passing the gate. This would also be the last test before you would become the faction's leader. However, I am not able to make this decision on my own. I will discuss it with Grandmaster Shan Yun later.
A faint smile flashed over Lady Yan's face.
Thank you, Master.
As the green wind surrounded Grandmaster Shan Yun, the glow on his finger grew more intense. It was almost like a star. Killer beam! Suddenly, the air surrounding him solidified. He pointed his glowing finger at Xavier. The light came shooting forth like a laser beam. Wait, I've seen this D technique before. Xavier could have sworn something about this D technique was familiar. He thought for a second. Where did I see this before? Oh, I remember. Luna. Well, I mean, Junie. Used this to fight the winged amethyst lion back in the mountain range of monsters. She cut one of his horns off with this D technique. Master Haru and the others retreated as they saw what was going on. Judging from the looks on their faces, they knew how scary this D technique was. Only Xavier and Queen Medusa floated in the sky without concern. The reason Xavier was not terrified was because Lao was still in control of his body. If Xavier had not had Lao's help, he would have run away as quickly as possible. He had no way to fight against this sort of D technique as a Shi master. Xavier could feel how Lao guided his body. With a mind of its own, Xavier's arm rose up. Suddenly, the white heavenly flame appeared on his palm. Within seconds, it spread and wrapped around Xavier's body. Meanwhile, Xavier's left hand unsheathed the broadsword ruler. In the blink of an eye, the white heavenly flame also wrapped around it. His hand tightened its grip around it. Suddenly, an intense light erupted from the broadsword ruler. It was a lot brighter than the light of the heavenly flame. Some disciples who watched shielded their eyes. "Flame-splitting tsunami!" The cry from Xavier's mouth echoed through the entire faction of the mountain. Even below the mountain, some people could hear it. Many heads turned towards the sky, where the cry came from. Suddenly, the white heavenly flame formed into a glowing, curved blade. It was at least 30 feet long. Like lightning, it shot from the tip of the broadsword ruler. The Q energy coming from it was so strong, it felt as if the sky was splitting apart. This time, the flame-splitting tsunami was at least 10 times stronger than when Xavier demonstrated it during the fight with Lady Yan. This shocked the disciples.
How is he doing that? His power increased so quickly. What happened? Wasn't he just a Shi master earlier?
The disciples moved a bit further away. Finally, the Q energy of the white heavenly flame collided with the Q energy laser from Grandmaster Shan Yun. Terrifying waves of Q energy surged from the point of collision. Some people were sent flying backward. They crashed against the debris and ruins on the field. Master Haru, Lord Fang, and the others had gained a lot of distance, but still shivered as they felt the Q energy waves that came towards them. Master Haru raised his head. "And here I thought I was getting close to becoming a warlord. I thought I could make the leap this year, but I am nowhere near a true warlord. How did Xavier gain so much power? This is odd, isn't it? Seeing his Q energy, he must be on the level of a warlord, but that is impossible." Lord Fang hummed and brushed over his beard. "I don't know if you have noticed, but ever since Xavier's strength increased, he only relied on the white heavenly flame. He's not using the green one anymore. As an alchemist, I am very attentive towards things like this." Master Haru rolled his eyes. "Alchemist or not, what does this have to do with Xavier's power increasing? We have seen him use the white heavenly flame and the green heavenly flame separately before." "Yes, but can't you see how much his control over the white heavenly flame increased? It looks a lot more practiced. Do you think... Oh, never mind. I suppose we will never know. I doubt Xavier will tell us." Lord Fang let out a bitter laugh. Silently, Master Haru agreed. He held the same opinion. As he looked back at Xavier, he saw that Xavier was still standing mid-air. "He does not appear to be injured, at least not much. I don't think Grandmaster Shan Yun will manage to keep him at the faction today. Queen Medusa is also still next to Xavier. Grandmaster Shan Yun should give up already. He is just making this whole situation worse for himself." Lord Fang laughed and shook his head. "There is no way he can make this situation worse for himself. I am sure he is aware of that. No matter what he does, he is in a bad spot right now. There is nothing he can do but keep fighting. Since the First Elder was killed in front of so many people, Grandmaster Shan Yun has to avenge him. Otherwise, the faction of the Misty Clouds will be a joke to everyone if the news spread. Additionally, I don't think Grandmaster Shan Yun wants an enemy like Xavier to be on the loose. It would only be a matter of time until Xavier would show up again and cause more trouble for the faction." Master Haru nodded. He was deeply lost in thought. "But is anyone surprised by the outcome of this? The First Elder decided to go to Wutan City and pick a fight with the Xiao clan. He did not think that this would upset Xavier, especially if it is true that his father was kidnapped. His father Zahn was a chief as well, wasn't he? Kidnapping the chief of a clan is basically a declaration of war against the clan." Lord Fang did not share his opinion on this matter. "I wonder how this is going to end. I hope too many people won't lose their lives today." Xavier's body dodged a Q energy wave that was flying towards him. "And you were supposed to be the former great leader of the faction of the Misty Clouds? What a joke!" Grandmaster Shan Yun was boiling with rage. He took a few deep breaths to calm down. "You are very strong right now, Xavier. However, you can't keep fighting with this strength forever, can you? I don't think this is your strength after all. Once this strength leaves you, it's over for you. I won't show you any mercy anymore, no matter how much you will beg for it."
There is no point to try and reconcile our relationship anymore, after all the humiliation you've caused our faction."
Everyone watching this was silent. They suddenly understood that Grandmaster Shan Yun had no intention of holding Xavier at the faction. Instead, Grandmaster Shan Yun wanted to murder Xavier. Xavier's expression changed slightly. Although Lao was still the one controlling his body, Xavier was still aware of his surroundings. Xavier could also move a bit. He also knew it was true. Lao can't keep fighting for me forever. He just woke up again. His spiritual strength must still be very weak. What did he say? His power was at about 20%? Xavier decided to call out to Lao. "Master, we should leave. He is too strong. We won't be able to kill him. I'm also worried that you will fall asleep again. It's been difficult without you, and I would not know what to do."
"Calm down, kid. Although I'm still weak, I'm sure I can fight him."
Lao tried to comfort Xavier. "No, you can't do this. Let's just flee and get back to this later. It'll be fine." Xavier insisted. Lao thought for a moment.
"He is indeed a very strong opponent. Perhaps you're right. Queen Medusa does not seem like she wants to help us kill Grandmaster Shan Yun either. And if some of the disciples would recover and help him, things could get worse. You've grown up a lot while I was gone. What happened? I don't remember you being so reasonable."
Xavier snorted. "Lots of stuff happened. We can talk later. Let's leave first. Maybe once I return I can kill Grandmaster Shan Yun without your help. Wouldn't that be amazing? I never liked the faction of the Misty Clouds, but kidnapping my father was the last straw. I will find my father and destroy this faction." Xavier looked at Grandmaster Shan Yun and called out, "I have told you, you can't stop me. I will leave this damned faction for now, but this was not the last of it."
"You arrogant brat. Our faction is not as powerful as it is for no reason."
Grandmaster Shan Yun waved his hands, and a few glowing white lights came from his sleeve. They scattered in 4 directions in the sky. A short while later, they exploded in the far distance. As they exploded, long white threads fell down like a firework. Quickly, they formed a net.
"All the elders of our faction, listen up. Form the Hidden Sun Formation,"
ordered Grandmaster Shan Yun. Immediately, about 20 elders who heard this flashed into the sky. A sea of Q-energy clouds formed around them. Xavier let out an annoyed groan. "Seriously? Again? They already tried this attack before." The last time, the first Elder Shen tried to use the Hidden Sun Formation to fight the Ice Emperor. Since Grandmaster Shan Yun was a lot more powerful, this was going to be a lot more challenging. Before the elders could form the Hidden Sun Formation, Lao, inside Xavier's body, took charge. The white heavenly flame appeared on Xavier's palm. With one smooth motion, it dispelled some of the Q-energy clouds around him. Lao poured some more energy into the heavenly flame and forced Xavier's arm to smash it against the Q-energy net that surrounded them. The white heavenly flame crashed into the Q-energy net. To Xavier and Lao's shock, nothing happened. The Q-energy net reflected the heavenly flame, causing it to bounce back. "How odd." Lao waved Xavier's hand and forced the heavenly flame to move back toward the net. He pressed it deeper into the net. Slowly, the threads of the Q-energy net grew thinner. Grandmaster Shan Yun let out a cruel laugh. "You want to leave so badly? Well, that is unfortunate. It won't be so easy." He flashed up behind Xavier. Q-energy accumulated around his fist as he aimed another attack at Xavier. Xavier waved his hands. A cluster of the white heavenly flame surged. Immediately, it formed a thick defensive wall between Xavier and Grandmaster Shan Yun. It looked like a wall of ice. On top of it were flames, flickering happily in the wind. Grandmaster Shan Yun's Q-energy attack hit the wall. Instantly, the energy was frozen and burst into a cloud of ash. The wall of the heavenly flame was exhausted of its energy and vanished as well. Grandmaster Shan Yun moved around. More Q-energy clouds flew towards him. His body glowed from the powerful Q-energy. The fog in front of him wiggled. A moment later, it formed an enormous bow, just like the one that was summoned by the first elder a while ago. This time, however, it was a lot larger. "This is bad. Their combined Q-energy is way too strong." Lao thought for a moment and silently told Xavier to do some things. Xavier nodded and disappeared. Grandmaster Shan Yun did not let this bother him. He closed his eyes and formed a seal with his hands. Moments later, a giant arrow appeared and was inserted into the bow. With closed eyes, he used his senses to find Xavier, who was still not to be seen. Another gesture, and the bowstring was drawn back. The arrow shot through an empty space. It flew further and further, and nothing seemed to happen. Grandmaster Shan Yun furrowed his brows. It should have hit him by now. Something about this does not feel right. He waved his hands hastily, and a few clouds formed a white shield in front of him. Suddenly, Xavier appeared in the middle of the sea of Q-energy clouds. In his hands were the heavenly flames, one green and the other white. As he let them grow bigger, some of the clouds disappeared. Without hesitation, Xavier smashed the two heavenly flames together. With Lao's support, Xavier did not have to wait to merge the flame. With a muffled thundering sound, they merged into one green-white flame. Xavier grinned from ear to ear. "Eat shit!" After the enormous explosion of the merged heavenly flames, Grandmaster Shan Yun turned pale. He felt the full impact of it. Even though he had the Q-energy shield protecting him, he was still shaken. His heart was heavy as the Q-energy blast forced him out of the hidden sun formation that the elders had formed. Once outside, he could not make use of their Q-energy anymore. Weakened by the attack, he fell through the air. The disciples who saw this were at a loss for words. Lady Yan cried out, "Grandmaster Shan Yun!" Lord Fang sighed. "I am glad we are watching this from a safe distance. If we had been too close, this Q-energy would have been strong enough to even rip us apart." Master Haru nodded. "Maybe that was why he did not want to use the green heavenly flame during the fight. He wanted to keep it as a last resort to escape. What do you think, Lord Fang?" Lord Fang furrowed his brows. "Xavier has gotten a lot weaker now. So did his flame. This green heavenly flame is nowhere near the power of the white heavenly flame. I am not sure why his strength suddenly left him." Meanwhile, Xavier gritted his teeth. He rushed forth and let himself fall down toward Grandmaster Shan Yun. The two heavenly flames grew and wrapped around his hands. Grandmaster Shan Yun was so weakened by the explosion, he could only watch as Xavier approached from above. As Xavier saw the fear in the old man's face, he let out a cold laugh. "What? You were the one who wanted to kill me. Don't pretend to be shocked that I will defend myself by killing you first." "Xavier, no!" A panicked voice was suddenly heard behind Xavier. Following it was a fierce attack. Xavier frowned and turned his head. He waved his hand, and the white heavenly flame incinerated the oncoming Q-energy of the attack. "What? You also want to attack me?" It was Grandmaster Junie. On her face was a sad smile. "I am the current leader of the faction of the Misty Clouds. Shan Yun used to be my master. I cannot stand by and watch as he gets killed." "So you would rather stand by and watch me get killed?" Xavier mocked her. Tears formed in Grandmaster Junie's eyes. "I am sorry, Xavier. No matter what, I have to put my faction first." She flapped her wings. A Q-energy longsword formed in her hands. With all her strength, she shot it at Xavier. An icy feeling spread in his heart. He shifted his focus back to Grandmaster Shan Yun, who kept falling. "Be careful!" Suddenly, two voices cried out for Xavier. One was the voice of Lao, the other the voice of Grandmaster Junie. Xavier's pupils dilated. Grandmaster Shan Yun recovered from his fall by flapping his wings. He appeared behind Xavier. A menacing smile was on his face. "It is over, Xavier." Xavier was unprepared. He could not react in time. A fist surrounded by powerful Q-energy smashed against Xavier. His vision turned black. He spat out a mouthful of blood. The force was enough to shoot Xavier several feet upward before he began to fall again. Lord Fang and the others grew angry. The Ice Emperor was the only one who spoke up. "Shan Yun, you old dog! A sneak attack? Are you serious? Did your faction not embarrass itself enough today? You coward!" Master Haru and Lord Fang had similar feelings, but were not bold enough to say it out loud. Slowly, Xavier recovered his senses. His vision came back as well, though everything he saw was blurry. He could recognize Grandmaster Junie's face above him. She flapped her Q-energy wings a few times. Xavier, in the meantime, was still falling. Mid-air, he brushed his fingers over his storage ring, and a blue vest appeared. He threw it at Grandmaster Junie. "Keep it. I don't want to ever see you again." Instinctively, she caught it. The feeling of the vest on her fingers caused her to remember something. She thought back to the time she spent with Xavier in the mountain range of monsters. She bit her lips. As she looked at the blue vest, she saw that it was perfectly clean. The only thing on it was a few crack lines and one missing patch. For a moment, she wanted to cry. Xavier fell deeper and deeper. A green and a white flame surged out of his back. They intertwined, making Xavier look like a shooting star. He laughed. "Grandmaster Shan Yun, I will remember this. I swear I will remember this for the rest of my life, and I will make you pay for this." Beneath Xavier, a dense forest came closer. As he was getting closer to the ground, Xavier laughed and laughed. The people on the mountain who heard it felt a chill crawling down their spines. Grandmaster Shan Yun turned towards the elders and the disciples. His cold voice echoed over the entire mountain like thunder. "All the elders of the faction of the Misty Clouds, listen to me. I need you to search for Xavier. We need to find him. I have left a mark on his body with my last attack. He won't be able to escape. Capture him, dead or alive." The elders obeyed without question. They descended from the mountain peak and kept scanning the dense jungle-like forest beneath. However, the forest was far too vast. High trees and bushes covered everything that was on the ground. The elders looked around, and their hearts sank. "It'll take ages to find anything here. By the time we scanned the entire forest, Xavier will be gone," one of them sneered. One of the other elders nodded and sighed. "That is true, but have you heard what Grandmaster Shan Yun said? You don't want to upset him even more, do you?" The elders searched inch by inch, but they could not find Xavier. After realizing that their search was futile, they split up and headed in different directions. Deeper and deeper, they marched into the forest. In the middle of this forest was a towering tree. Atop the tall tree was a thick branch, extending like a long arm. Surrounding it were lush, green leaves. If one were to take a quick glance at it, they would not see through this thicket of leaves. Xavier was not making a move as he was hiding there. He gritted his teeth. It took him a visible effort to not groan in pain. Grandmaster Shan Yun really did a number on Xavier with his attack. "Master, are you still there?" Xavier called out for Lao in his mind. Moments later, the tired voice of an old man replied, "I'm still here, kid. Don't worry. Although this time around, things are not looking too good. Merging the heavenly flames again really exhausted me. The only reason I'm still awake is because you gave me the essence of the green spirit plant a while ago." "I understand. I'm sorry, Master Lao. I know I was acting recklessly, but my father is missing. I have to save him. He has done so much for me, more than anyone," Xavier expressed. Lao manifested himself in front of Xavier on the thick tree branch. Xavier's eyes widened. "Finally, it is, good to see you again." Xavier flushed red. To be honest, he was shocked. Lao looked a lot weaker and older. His eyes were tired and sunken in. Lao smiled at Xavier. "Your father can be very proud. You attacked the most powerful faction of the Empire of the Heavens, and even killed their first elder to try and save him. It was reckless, but very brave. You should not beat yourself up about it. You should be grateful that you have something in life that is worth fighting for. Without any desire, no amount of power will mean anything. After all, what is power when you cannot use it to protect someone you care for?" "Thank you, Master. You're right." Xavier agreed. Lao chuckled. "There's no need to thank me, kid. Anyway, we should focus on leaving this forest. We are still very close to the faction of the Misty Clouds. If we stay here too long, they will find us sooner or later. I don't think Grandmaster Shan Yun will show up himself. Hopefully, his injuries will give him something to chew on for a while. But he still has a large number of elders and disciples that must be on the lookout for you. I wish I could help you to flee, but helping you to merge the heavenly flames exhausted me too much. I should not waste too much of the little energy I have left. All I can do is suppress the Q-energy imprint that Shan Yun has left on your body." "Do you not have enough energy to destroy it, Master?" Xavier asked. Lao shook his head. "That is not the problem. If I destroy it, Grandmaster Shan Yun would be immediately alerted. And since we are still close to the faction, the elders would find us in seconds." Xavier nodded. He clenched his hands into fists and raised his head. His gaze passed through the tiny gaps between the leaves. Behind them was a clear blue sky. Birds were singing as if nothing bad was going on. Yet at this exact moment, the faction of the Misty Clouds gathered all their forces to find and kill Xavier. He let out a deep breath. In my current condition, I could only face some of their disciples. If some other members or elders show up, I would have no chance. They could kill me on the spot. I don't want to die in this forest. First, we should head deeper into the mountain region. I need to take care of my wounds. I don't think it would be a good idea to try and flee while bleeding out. Lau's smile grew. You were in luck, kid. I should be able to refine some healing medicine for you. Then we will head to the west of the forest. From there, we can escape. I can sense that there are search parties in the east, north, and south. Make sure to pay attention to the sky. Most of the people searching are elders. They have no problem flying with their Q-energy wings. If any of them would spot you, we would be in trouble. I figured. Xavier parted the leaves beneath the branch he was sitting on and looked around. Once he could not discover any traces of any danger, he climbed down. His body was trembling and his vision was blurry. With all his remaining strength, he kept moving forward. Step by step, he walked deeper into the dense thicket of the forest. Suddenly, a rainbow-colored flash of light shot past him. Xavier paused. Cold sweat was running down his forehead. As he lowered his head, he beamed with joy. You're back! I missed you! I prefer you over Queen Medusa. I can't believe you've actually found me. Incredible! The rainbow-devouring python wiggled over and rubbed its head against Xavier's leg. Xavier chuckled. Although the power of the snake was not as mighty as Queen Medusa's, at least Xavier knew that he could rely on the python. When he remembered how Queen Medusa just stood by the side and watched while Xavier fought Grandmaster Shan Yun, anger overcame him. You are not like her, are you? As long as I pet and feed you, you'll do anything for me. You're also much more pleasant to talk to. Do you know that? Xavier did not hide his joy. He rubbed his storage ring, and a bottle of the winged amethyst lion's birth essence appeared in his hand. Using a twig from a nearby tree, Xavier gave the python a few drops of it. Immediately, the python bounced excitedly. It circled around Xavier a few times before climbing up his body and hiding in his sleeve again. At least he will try to keep me safe and not start an argument every 5 minutes. Xavier sighed. With your help, we might even have a chance if we would get discovered by the elders, though I still don't want to stay around for too long. Lau hummed in agreement. His ghost flew back into the ancient black ring. The old man's voice sounded through Xavier's mind. I can sense that there are some people heading in our direction. You should avoid a fight with them. Actually, try to avoid fighting at all. Your Q energy appears to be very uneven. It's constantly jumping up and down. This usually means that your level is about to rise. You should not let this opportunity go to waste. Quickly find a place to rest and train. Who knows when an opportunity to level up will appear again? Xavier hurriedly nodded his head. I didn't notice. I was so busy fighting I did not pay any attention to my Q energy at all. Increasing my level sounds great right now, as long as it means that I can also increase my chance of survival. Xavier took one quick glance behind him. He could not see the mountain, but he could sense its position vaguely in the distance. It is a shame. I came to the faction of the Misty Clouds to settle the dispute between me and Lady Yan, and I left it with a new enemy, one that is even more powerful than my old one. But this won't stop me. I'll train even harder and become more powerful than Grandmaster Shan Yun. I will kill him and save my father. Ten people appeared like ghosts in the middle of the dense forest. In their hands were long swords. They braced themselves for any sudden attack. He's wounded. It should not be too hard to fight him right now. One of the people reminded the rest of his group. Still, they did not want to take any risks. After all, they were only disciples of the faction of the Misty Clouds. None of the elders were with them, so they had to depend on themselves. They kept scanning the area. As they saw that there were no signs of any movement, they relaxed. They stuffed their signal flares back into their chest pockets. I know Xavier is wounded, but we should keep our guard up. You have seen what he did to our former leader. Remember what he did to Grandmaster Shan Yun? Warned one of them. Yes, I saw the fight. Their leader stepped forward and waved his longsword. A blast of Q energy shot from its tip, and a glowing mark was left on a tree. Once he did this, he turned to the other members of his group. "All right, we searched the entire area. If we go any deeper, we will enter the mountain range of monsters. It would be too troublesome to search for him there. We should head back and inform the elders to check. They can use their Q-energy wings to fly over this area." He reached for a pocket and pulled out a bamboo whistle. Xavier did not hear any of this. He moved through the forest as fast as his injuries allowed it. His sharp eyes scanned his entire surroundings. He could not afford to miss anything. "Something feels off. I should have entered the mountain range of monsters now, right?" "That is correct," came Lau's reply. Xavier was startled as he heard this. He laughed awkwardly. "Man, I need to get used to having you around again. You were gone for so long that I ended up talking to myself. It's nice to get answers to my questions again. Anyway, if we are in the mountain range of monsters, then why are there no monsters? I can't see, hear, or sense anything. I don't trust this silence. It feels too silent. You know what I mean?" Lau let out a hearty laugh. "You can't think of a single reason why no monster wants to be near you right now?" No. Should I?" asked Xavier. "I'll give you a hint, kid. You have quite a powerful trick up your sleeve." Master Lau chuckled. "A powerful trick up my sleeve?" Xavier was confused for a moment until he looked at his sleeves. In them was the rainbow-devouring python. Peacefully, it curled around Xavier's wrist. "The rainbow-devouring python?" He beamed with joy. "I totally forgot that this is a powerful monster. It looks like an ordinary snake to me. So the monsters are scared of the python? That's great news. That means we have one less thing to worry about." "I can give you some more great news. The scouts that have been sent by the faction of the Misty Clouds are not as lucky as you are. From what I can tell, they were attacked by 3 different monsters within the past few hours. They did not die, but it did slow them down quite a bit," Lau informed. Xavier nodded with a wide grin on his face. "That is great news." He did not stop to continue to chat with Lau. Instead, he kept moving forward. Carefully, he looked around for a spot where he could hide. In a forest that was filled with monsters, finding a hiding spot in which one would not get disturbed was undoubtedly a difficult task. It took Xavier all day. Only as the sun began to set did he finally find a spot. He was walking through a large area of dense foliage when a dangerous ravine appeared in his sight. Slowly, he walked toward its edge. As he lowered his head, he could see a seemingly bottomless abyss. Across this abyss was a mountain wall, and in this mountain wall, a large cave. It must have been a few dozen feet wide and equally high. It did not appear as if it was made by humans. Instead, it looked as if it was made by some kind of sharp-clawed monster. "This place over there looks perfect, and the fog above the abyss will make it difficult to spot." Xavier inspected the area for a while. He did not want to accidentally break into the home of a monster. After a good hour, he could not find any hint of any monster or other threat nearby. Xavier activated his eagle wings and flew over the abyss. He did not waste any time as he flew over. The mountain range of monsters was full of all sorts of beasts and other lurking dangers. If one was not careful, they would die so quickly that they wouldn't even have time to process what killed them. Xavier only stopped as he was directly at the entrance of the cave. Quickly, he pulled back his sleeve and tapped against the sleeping rainbow-devouring python. I know. I'm sorry for waking you. Can you please check out the cave and get rid of anything that is inside there? I don't think I'm in any condition to fight a monster right now." Xavier gave the python an apologetic smile. The python seemed to understand him and shot out from his sleeve and into the cave. A minute after the python entered the cave, a giant monster rushed out and flew away. Its monstrous face looked terrified. Xavier laughed. The python came flying out from the cave afterward. It stopped mid-air in front of Xavier and hissed happily at him. Xavier was stunned as he watched the giant monster flee in terror. A moment later, he laughed. "Incredible! Thank you for your help. You actually scared off a level 3 winged lion monster. I can't believe that." He patted the python in front of him on its head. The python almost looked like it was smiling as it crawled back into Xavier's sleeve and wrapped around his wrist. Xavier then flapped his wings and landed in the cave. An electric jolt shot through his body as he landed. He violently coughed a few times. The taste of blood was in his mouth. His eagle wings withdrew and transformed back into the tattoos on his back. Man, my injuries are worse than I thought. Using my eagle wings only made it worse. I really need to get some rest and recover. He wiped off the blood from the corner of his mouth. Once inside the cave, he looked around to see if everything was safe. It's very spacious here, but the stench is awful. I shouldn't be surprised by that. Who knows how long this winged lion monster was living here? Anyway, I should not complain about something like that. At least I found a safe spot. That's all that matters right now. Xavier flicked his fingers, and a bunch of moonlight stones came from his storage ring. He placed them on the wall of the cave. Their light was dim, but it was enough to make out everything in the cave. Xavier looked outside. He raised his head to the sky. It was already dark. Above him were thousands of stars. I miss seeing the stars, Xavier sighed. You can't see that many stars in the capital. Xavier stood there for a while. He thought quietly for a moment, and then went back inside the cave. He used a giant rock to block off the entrance. The last thing he needed was the winged lion to come back, or any other monster for that matter. Although Lau assured him that the monsters were scared of the python, Xavier did not want to push his luck. Xavier was also worried about any of the elders from the faction seeing the light in the cave. Even though it was very dim, he knew he needed to be cautious. He could not afford to take one wrong step, especially not until his injuries are fully taken care of. Once everything was done, Xavier let himself fall onto a large rock inside the cave. Only now did he feel how exhausted he was from all the fighting and traveling. The sudden fatigue overwhelmed him. Finally, I can get some rest. No, not yet, kid. I'm sorry. Lau's voice appeared in Xavier's mind. Xavier was startled and let out an annoyed groan. Why not? I'm exhausted. I need to get some rest. Lau's ghostly body manifested itself in front of Xavier. He beckoned his hands, and the storage ring on Xavier's finger flew towards Lau. Falling asleep with so many injuries is a bad idea. We need to get you patched up first. I will refine some pills for you to speed things up. He brushed over the storage ring, and a number of ingredients came flying forth. Xavier nodded. While Lau was refining the medicine, Xavier took on his training pose and closed his eyes. As they finally had a minute to catch their breath in the cave, Lau manifested himself near Xavier. I have been gone for a lot longer than I expected. Thank you for the green spirit plant. Without its help, I would have been asleep for who knows how much longer. I imagine I've missed a lot. Tell me, what happened while I was asleep? Xavier sat down on a large boulder and laughed. Oh man, where do I start? Maybe with the alchemy competition in the capital. Lau's eyes widened. The alchemy competition? Did you participate? Xavier nodded. He could not hide his pride. I participated and won first place. Can you believe that? There was some guy who tried to cheat and win first place, but I defeated him. He was an elder from the Alchemist Society in the neighboring empire. Lau beamed with joy. Really? That's incredible. Not that I would ever doubt you or your ability as an alchemist, Xavier. Well done. Xavier's chest swelled with pride. He then told Lau about everything else that had happened while he was asleep. Xavier told him about how he got the green spirit plant, about how he absorbed the poison from Master Yi for the same reason, and about his short journey to the Xiao clan, where his father disappeared. It took Xavier 2 hours to catch Lau up with everything. Afterward, Xavier kept training in the cave, while Lau began to refine some healing medicine for him. Silently, Lau kept looking at the ingredients in the storage ring. He pulled out more and more ingredients. They were floating around his ghostly body. Lau inspected them carefully. Astonishing. This kid really stored a lot of ingredients inside here. That really saves me a lot of trouble. I should have everything I need to refine some potent healing medicine. Lau waved his hands. The white heavenly flame appeared on his palm. With his other hand, he added one ingredient after the other to refine them. Compared to the way Xavier refined ingredients, it looked a lot more practiced. Lau's hands moved in a smooth way, like flowing water. There was no hesitation or nervousness seen in the way he moved. Even someone who was not an alchemist could see that Lao was truly a master of his craft. The moonlight stones kept the dark cave dimly lit. Thanks to the giant rock at the entrance, no one could see the light inside. Lao and Xavier also made sure to stay as silent as possible. Only the sound of the crackling heavenly flame could be heard. But due to the rushing of the wind in the trees outside, it would be impossible for anyone to hear the crackling of the flame. This silence went on for 3 hours. Only then did Xavier open his eyes. His cheeks regained some of their color. He stretched his arms and let out a deep breath. As he raised his head, he saw that Lao was standing near the entrance of the cave. As Lao saw Xavier, he smiled. "Feeling better?" Xavier nodded. "Although my injuries are quite bad, the training helped me to stabilize my body and organs. You were right about what you said. My strength did increase." Lao smiled and nodded. He flicked his finger, and a green pill flew toward Xavier. The latter caught it mid-air. He looked at Lao. "Take this pill, kid. With it, any injury should heal completely. You may feel a bit of pain after consuming this pill, but it will help you. It will also help you to absorb the rest of the 3-lined pill that you took. The 3-lined pill was a bit too much for your body, so some of its Q energy has not been stored in your Q cyclone properly. With this pill, the remaining Q energy in your body should get fully absorbed. There is some other thing I am worried about, though," Lao explained. "What is it, Master?" Xavier asked. Lao sighed. "Well, it is the poison you have absorbed. Back when you removed the poison from Master Yi. This poison is rather vicious. I will try to come up with a way to remove it for you once you have fully recovered." "All right, thank you." Xavier smiled and swallowed the green pill. Once again, he closed his eyes. This time, he activated his inner vision. Lao observed Xavier from the entrance of the cave. He knew that Xavier should not be disturbed in this state. All Lao did while waiting was carelessly play with Xavier's storage ring. After 20 minutes or so, the ring began to vibrate. "Huh? What's that?" He flicked his fingers, and a broken black piece of stone appeared in his hand. He let his fingers wander over it. Lao could not tear his eyes away from it. Where did he get this from? The piece of black stone was the cheap item Xavier got back at the Alchemist Society. Back then, there was something about this item that intrigued Xavier, though he could not place his finger on why. It did not look like anything extraordinary, just like some cheap piece of old stone that broke off from a larger stone. Lao looked at Xavier. He could not ask him where he got it from. Right now, Xavier was deeply immersed in his training. Distracting him would be very bad. Meanwhile, Xavier felt a fiery pain in his lower abdomen. As quickly as it came, it left again. The heat kept lingering there. It turned into numerous streams of Q energy that forced their way into every vein of his body. Gradually, the temperature increased. Xavier's face twitched. Lao was not kidding as he said this might cause some pain. It really is uncomfortable, but compared to some of the other pain I've endured this week, it's nothing. The hot Q energy circulated through his Q pathways. Somewhere in this hot Q energy was also an icy energy. Whenever the temperature increased too much, the iciness spread around for a bit, cooling the Q pathways down. In the end, the refined Q energy poured into the rhombus-shaped Q crystal inside his Q cyclone. Upon receiving the pure Q energy, the glow of the crystal increased. It lit up the Q cyclone inside Xavier's body. Some other refined Q energy spread into Xavier's bones and cells. Greedily, they absorbed it as soon as the Q energy came close. Once they devoured the energy, Xavier could feel how his bones and muscles were not only healed, but also much stronger. Xavier relaxed a bit. He shifted his attention to control the overflowing bursts of Q energy within his body. He was able to gather the energy and also pour it into the Q crystal within the Q cyclone. The thumb-sized crystal was like a bottomless pit. It kept swallowing the Q energy that Xavier poured into it unceasingly. None of the Q energy was rejected by the Q crystal, regardless of how much Q energy had accumulated. The pill that Lao had refined was not of a high level. Despite this, it had a strong effect. The pill had some sort of instigative effect that helped Xavier to restore his body with all the Q energy he had gathered over the past few weeks. This sort of pill was something that even Lord Fang would struggle to refine. Wave after wave of Q energy fog rose from Xavier's body. It made the cave almost look like a sauna. This fog was, of course, not only on the outside, but also inside Xavier. Even his internal organs were completely shrouded by this fog. Xavier was unable to see what was going on around him on the inside. He used his inner vision to wander through his body and see what was going on there. He wanted to make sure that the powerful Q energy would not overdo it and accidentally cause some damage to his body. After all, his body had its limit. Crossing these limits could cause some serious damage. As he saw that it was enough, Xavier hurriedly took control of the Q energy fog in his body. He could feel a fiery pain on his skin. I think I waited a bit too long. My skin is already corroded from the Q energy fog. Any longer, and my internal organs would also get damaged. Lao, who was playing with the odd black stone, stopped for a moment and looked over to Xavier. Lao frowned. Why is he accumulating so much energy? Maybe I should take a look. He put the black piece of rock aside for a moment. With a flick of his fingers, a large lotus leaf appeared. Lao waved his hands, and the lotus leaf slid under Xavier. Immediately, Xavier relaxed. Xavier had no time to thank Lao. Damn it, why is there still so much excess Q energy in my body? My wounds have completely healed. What should I do? I guess the best thing I can try is to use this excess Q energy to break through to the next level. I don't want to let this Q energy go to waste. Once he made up his mind, Xavier did not hesitate. He shifted his mind to the excess Q energy, and it suddenly surged. The Q energy fog surrounding him flew closer towards him. As the enormous amounts of Q energy came increasingly close to his Q cyclone, the Q cyclone shrunk. Some moisture appeared in the Q cyclone. They quickly formed tiny droplets. More and more of the Q energy fog left, leaving a green pure liquid Q energy behind. Within this liquid Q energy were even some tiny solid crystals. Xavier forced this liquid Q energy around his Q pathways to refine it some more, after which he moved it back inside the Q cyclone. It poured inside like a waterfall. Suddenly, a thundering sound echoed through Xavier's body. The large amount of energy violently smashed against the Q crystal. Xavier was so startled he almost left his training state. His Q crystal grew after absorbing this large amount of energy. It was suddenly twice its original size. Following the expansion of the Q crystal, Xavier could sense that his own strength rapidly rose as well. He was getting close to the barrier to the next level. Within the cave, Lao carefully watched Xavier. He fondled his beard and nodded slightly. After a while, Xavier let out a soft groan. Lao beamed with joy. He has broken through the barrier. Unbelievable. That kid is now a level 2 She-Master. He leveled up even faster than I expected him to. Given his current strength, it would usually take 2 or 3 months to rise to the next level. Perhaps I underestimated his talent, or maybe it was the constant fighting that paid off. A moment later, Lao sensed that Xavier's strength surged again. Level 3 She-Master? Really? How astonishing. This kid is really something else. Lao kept praising him as another soft groan was emitted from Xavier. Lao paused his hand, which was fondling his beard. Is he going to break through another level?